You're out of order.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Sergeant Orange, where are you? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you got me off my kilter here. Let me gather my senses here just a second.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, what this bill seeks to do is do what 41 other states have done, plus the District of Columbia, and 21 of them is actually set the minimum wage higher than the federal standard. Tennessee does not have its own does not have its own minimum wage. What this bill attempts to do is says if you offer health insurance for your employees, you can keep paying the current minimum wage. But if you choose not to do that, then your minimum wage will go up to $1. It'll raise by $1, be $8.25. There's no statistics. Now, there'll be people tell you this is a job killer bill and all that. There's actually no statistics out there that support that either way from any independent source. You can find partisan sources on either side that'll tell you whatever you want to hear. But there's nothing on this. Actually, putting $1 into the economy would help boost the economy, because these, people who make the minimum wage aren't going out and buying yachts or fancy cars or putting it in their 401k. They're putting the money in the economy, and so that would help the businesses. And it's also kind of a myth about this too, that we're talking about teenagers here. This will cause unemployment in teenagers. Most teenagers are employed in the service industry, and the service industry is so competitive right now that that they pay more than minimum wage. And it's actually only about 16% of the teenagers are in this country are employed by minimum wage, or make the minimum wage. It's actually 84% of the people on minimum wage are seniors. That's the highest number. So we're talking about mostly senior people who are being paid the minimum wage, and this would raise their fee to $1. I think, Mr. Chairman, I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's time we do it here in Tennessee, because we've passed a lot of legislation the last 2 years that's helped the wealthiest in this state too, and some for good things. But we've done very little in the last few years in this state to do anything to help the people on the lower end people out there struggling. And it's hard to raise a family or maintain a lifestyle when you're making less than $300 a week. And this is our opportunity to say, hey, we care about everybody in Tennessee. It's only going to be $1. The federal government's talking about raising much more than that. I don't know if they will or not, but this is just moving us forward. And I think it's time we do this and tell the people of Tennessee we care about everybody in this state. Mr. Chairman, that's what the bill does. Basically, I'm willing to answer questions. I have a lot of statistics here. I won't bore you with those, but I'm here to answer questions, and I think I can answer most any questions this is asked.
We have a motion on the bill. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Representative Turner, thank you. We have a motion. We got a second. The bill is properly before us. There no amendments to the bill. Just
not yet, sir, unless you want to bump it up or something. But.
Oh, I thought maybe you might want to lower it a little bit.
Well, it's already pretty low, Mr. Chairman. we just raised a small amount. And like I said,
right,
if you are a company that provides health insurance, you just want to change it all.
How many companies out there do not have employees do not have health insurance in the state of Tennessee?
Well, that's something I don't have, Mr. Chairman. Sure. If you'll let that go to the full committee, I'll have an answer for you next week.
I had to think real hard to find something that you didn't know.
Well, I did not know that.
I know you'll get it.
And it may be in here, Mr. Chairman. I was reading over this morning.
I know you'll get it.
And it depends on what part of the state you're in. Middle Tennessee, not so many.
Sure.
As you get in West and East Tennessee, there's more. But in Southern Middle Tennessee, there's more. The rural areas type thing. But this, like I said, but there are but mostly in the urban areas where your seniors are a lot, and they're being paid the minimum wage a whole lot as they go back to work. Some of them retire, go back to work, and they're paid the minimum wage.
How does this impact with affordable health care with this mandates requiring companies to carry health insurance on their employees? How will this play into that?
Mr. Chairman, we've not settled that issue yet, and if this bill, if it's passed, would not affect that whatsoever. That would supersede anything Affordable Care Come Act would supersede anything we've done in this bill here. Right. So it wouldn't affect it either way. Sure. As they roll it out, if what we do here does affect that, any portion of it, and some of it's subject to change, as you probably know, then this would not affect it.
Right. I do know that he had Jim Brown from the NFIB wanted to talk on the bill, and he had to leave to go to another committee to present an issue there.
Well, I can tell you what he would say, Mr. Chairman.
I know you would if you want to quote him.
He would tell you he's got 91% of his members are against it, but only about 200 of his 1,500 bothered to even send the thing back in. That's what they usually. That's the statistic I always get out of it.
Sure. Members, do you have any questions? Representative Turner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to commend Chairman Turner for bringing this bill before us because, as you said, and I'm looking at the fiscal note, it would only be for, as it relates to the state, 247 part-time employees would be sent a message that this state cares about them.
Yes, ma'am.
And for that reason alone, with many of the actions, some of the actions that we have taken, we haven't conveyed that message. Thank you for bringing this bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I could.
You're recognized.
Yes, thank you. And I mentioned there's 41 states that have their own minimum wage. There's 21 that actually reflects the federal minimum wage. But it's kind of amazing because, if Jim Brown had been here, he would have told you it's a job killer and hurts the economy. That's not true. Of the 21 states that have a higher minimum wage than the federal government provides, all of them do better than Tennessee. Every one of them has a more robust economy, higher standard of living. Every one of them scores higher in education. They beat us in every category out there, except maybe low taxes, but there's a couple of them pretty close to us on that, Mr. Chairman. Washington is one of them. I think they're lower than us. I think we're right at the same thing. So Mr. Chairman, that's there's no economic reason not to do this except a positive economic reason to do it, and that would actually stimulate money, help people get by a little bit, and put money in the economy.
Sure. Representative Cass, you're recognized, sir. Well, without objection, are we ready to vote on the bill before us? Representative Towns?
Mr.
Roll
Chairman,
call. You're recognized.
Well, that's all I was going to say to Mr. Chairman. I would request it roll call vote, and I would encourage you to vote for those people struggling out there and the people trying to make a living out there. Thank you.
I think you've done a great job presenting your issues in the bill. And clerk, if you would, without objection, we're voting on House Bill 1694. Call the roll call.
Cassida? No. Eldridge?
No.
Hody?
No.
Towns? Mr. Towns? Ms. Turner? Two yeses, 3 noes.
The bill fails. House Bill 1694 fails, but I think you did a great job presenting a good issue here.
Well,
Thank you, Representative Turner. And I'm sure we'll see this bill back, and thank you for your time.